Hope everyone had a great day today. If you haven't checked it out already, me and Chet, we did a collab again today about the stay away plan. I had made a video about it before, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to redo it with Chet, because why not? Anyway, let's dive right into the story. So this is a story about a time where I tried to vape. And before we begin, I'm going to just say this. Don't vape, kids. It's not worth it. It's really not. I've only tried it like 3 times, if that. And I didn't like it. I was just trying to be, oh, I'm so cool trying it. But believe me, I wasn't cool, bro. Nobody thought I was cool at the end of the day. Trust me, it's not worth it. Anyway, we'll dive right in. So this story takes place around, I want to say like April 2017, thereabouts. And this was like as the stay away plan from the other story I was telling earlier was coming to an end. And me and Chet had this friend. I'm going to just call him Dylan. And Dylan knew about like the whole stay away plan, and I remember he said this to Chad. He was like, "Oh, he should have kept like everything in Vegas, like what happened and all that." And he said the same thing about the vape. He was like, "Vegas, especially you." And if you don't know what that means, keep it in Vegas basically means what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So it's basically saying, "Oh, what happens in the school bathroom happens in the school bathroom," if that makes sense. So, like I said, I was like 17 when this happened, and I was just fixing things with Chet, and I wanted to become one of the cool kids again, because obviously, after the stay away plan, that ruined like my popularity a lot, and I was so about getting attention and being popular. That's all I cared about. But at the end of the day, none of that shit mattered. And I'm gonna give you all some advice if any of you are high schoolers, middle schoolers, whoever's watching it. I know being popular is cool and shit, don't get me wrong. I know you're gonna go do what you want anyway, and I respect that, but at the end of the day, it's not gonna matter at the end, trust me. I know some of you are gonna be flying to the comments like, well, dude, like I'm super popular right now. People can't get enough of me. And that's all good and great. That's how I felt when I was popular for a little bit, but once I graduated, nobody fucking remembered me, bro. Even the kids that were more popular than me, nobody remembered them either. Best believe. Alright, I'm rambling again. So, anyway, like I said, I'm in the school bathroom with Chet, my boy Dylan, and a couple of our other homies. And that's when he pulls out the vape. Then he's like, y'all want to try? And obviously, I definitely should have said no. I should have been like, yeah, bro, hell no. I'm more than good. I don't want to. But I was remiss. I was like, fuck it, bro. So I took a hit and I was like, bro, this shit is gas. I remember it was like berry flavor or some shit. I forget. The fact I remember that is crazy. But yeah, I was like chiefing that shit because we were passing that shit around. And I was like, yo, where'd you get it? And then he was like, oh, my cousin's like 21. He got it for me. I was like, oh shit, dude. I'm like, dude, can I buy one off of him? Then he was like, I don't see why not. And truth be told, I never ended up getting one, to be honest. After that, I was kind of like, yeah, my parents will flip shit if I buy one and shit, and they'll find a way to find it now. They always did. But fast forward to 3 years later when I was in community college, and of course, I was with college kids, obviously, and most of them vaped. And this is back when Juul was kind of popular. My boy Nathaniel, I've mentioned him in a couple of videos, he had one. And I remember I took one off of him. And I had one like in my car. I would do when my parents weren't looking. And I know what you're thinking, you're an adult. Why do your parents care? And they're very against nicotine, and very much so, though, honestly. Even though I was an adult, I respected them looking out for my safety. Because about a month or two later, I was caught. I had my little vape thing, and I got caught in the weirdest way, looking back, actually. It was in my car. So my mom was borrowing my car. I think her car was in the shop or something, I forget. And it was in my front seat, obviously, because where else would it be? She comes back into the house. Like, she goes to my car to go to wherever she had to go. And she walks back in from the car. And she slams the door and she's like, Marston, what is this? And she holds it. And I was stupid. I'm not going to lie, bro. I was fucking stupid. I was like, it's a USB drive. I said something stupid like that. I remember I stuttered like a dumbass too in front of her. And she was like, I know what this is, because she works in education. A lot of kids at my schools do it. Like, why are you doing this? Like, are you trying to get addicted? And I was like, oh, no. Like, I didn't know what to say. I really didn't know what to say. I don't think anybody would really know what to say in that situation. So I kind of just said, you know what, the jig is up. Just tell her. And I was like, yeah, I got it off one of my college homies, all that. And she was like, that's absolutely disgusting. Stop doing this shit. And I kid you not, we have a river in our backyard. She went to our backyard and she chucks that shit over the fence and into the river, never to be seen again. And I was like, holy shit. I didn't get in trouble or anything, obviously, because I'm an adult, but I got a good lecture, though. I will say that. And rightfully so, though. Nicotine is not good. I wouldn't recommend it in any shape or form. Like, I've never done cigarettes, don't plan to. If you're smoking that shit, like, I would absolutely stop. I know it's hard to, but trust me, bro, that shit's not worth it. I'm gonna just say that right now. And there was this third time where I tried a vape, and it wasn't really a vape. It was more of like a. It was more of like a. Let me think. A dab pen. Sorry, I couldn't find the word right there. It was a dab pen, and that shit was all right. Like that shit fucking hits you hard though. Like I'll make a whole separate video of that. That's probably like one of the highest I've gotten. I have one where I didn't like. I don't know what the right word is. Greened out, overdosed, whatever you want to call it, on the devil's lettuce brownie, whatever you want to call it. But that's a whole separate video. So this is a little off topic, but still has something to do with the vape. So when I was in college, I can't find the right word. When I was in college, my boy, I'm gonna just call him, let's see, Randy. My boy Randy, he had a vape and he kind of looks like me. Like we had the same shaped cut. And we were in like this meditation room where you could just study, relax, do whatever. And there was this kid that fucking ratted us out because obviously we weren't allowed to have vapes and shit at school. Or you could have them at school, but you couldn't just do it like inside the buildings for obvious reasons. And so this fucking kid, he decides to take a picture of my boy, Randy, and he sends it over to the campus security. And I remember this kid was texting me. I was friends with this kid at the time. And he was like, dude, if you and your friends don't leave with the vape and shit, I'm going to say something. It's against school policy. And I wasn't going to be the type of one to be like, yo, you guys got to leave. Like, I'm not that type of person, bro. I don't fuck with that shit. So I just stayed quiet. But then I get called over by a campus security guard. And mind you, we're back in the student lounge at this point. I probably should have mentioned that part. And I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm like, I'm going to get kicked out of school. And my dumbass house going to get arrested. Like, when I get in trouble, especially by, like, you know, big authority like that, I just think the worst. I'm like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do? And the funny part was, it's funny now, Randy decides to fucking just run out of the student lounge and say that he had something to do at home. But everybody was, like, sticking up for me. I'm like, no, it wasn't him. And luckily I didn't get in any trouble. Randy ended up confessing. I forget exactly what happened to him, but I was nervous as fuck though, bro. Like I thought for sure I was gonna like get in a lot of trouble. They ended up confiscating his vape though. That part I do remember. And as for the kid that ratted us out, I hit him up like, bro, like I thought we was boys, bro. I've hung out with this kid before. I went fishing with him before. I've gone bowling and shit with him before. Like we had like a lot of fun before. But after that, I was like, bro, like you snitch on me, bro. You ain't my friend, bro. Like, I can only lie when it comes to snitching because I don't rat my brothers out. Okay, that's cap. I lie sometimes. Other than that, but yeah, bro, don't be a snitch though, bro. That shit's not cool. Only time you should be snitching is if your friend or whoever it is talks about like something serious, like you know, suicide and shit. That you should say something. But other than that, you shouldn't be snitching on your friends like that, bro. Like, I think that shit's clowning, dog. Don't be doing that. Alright, guys. That's going to be a wrap for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for tomorrow night. There's going to be a Memorial Day disaster video from a few years ago. And there's going to be first time getting grounded. So look out for those, guys. Peace for now.